Good evening, and welcome back to SL Tonight. I'm Felix the Buzzkey, and last time we explored the very first issue of Horror from the Tomb, a wild pre-code horror comic that got renamed and continued as Mysterious Stories. Tonight, we're jumping straight ahead into the next chapter, Mysterious Stories number 2. On this cover, we have Queen Aleena, a woman who has been alive for 1500 years, guarded by gnomes and holding the secret to eternal life. Two men have penetrated her lost mountain kingdom, and now we're going to find out what happens when mortals get too close to immortality. I'll be doing a full cover-to-cover read of the entire issue, plus I'll throw in some Fate RPG one-shot ideas based on the story. Maybe. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and let's step back into the strange, foggy peaks of the 1954 horror comic. This is Mysterious Stories number 2. The Man Who Wouldn't Die is first up. In the story, a man terrified of death makes a deal with ancient forces and discovers that living forever might be worse than dying. Fate RPG hook aspects: I will never die. The price of immortality. The player characters must deal with a man who cannot be killed. What terrible price did he pay? Can they find a way to end his suffering? Afraid to die, mystery lovers? Want to live forever, eh? Then this little saga of strange adventure is for you. Come with us to the mighty Sahara Desert, land of the sun, sand, surprise, and suspense. This tormented tale will keep you shaking with delight as you read of The Man Who Wouldn't Die, as told by the Keeper of the Graveyard. I know you're there, Death, but you can't have me. I cheated you before, and I'll escape from you again this time. It is November of 1954 when Don Chester and Professor Alan Morse start on their journey across the vast Sahara. Their only object is a leisurely 2 months vacation. This is really something, eh, Prof? 2 whole months to explore the Sahara. Why, it makes me feel 10 years younger. Don, my boy, when you're my age, then you can start counting the years. But Don Chester has always been concerned about his age. Although only 38, he is obsessed with the fears of middle age and dying. He secretly yearns for eternal youth. For the moment, he thinks only of the beauty of the mysterious silent desert, until he sees a tremendous mass of whirling black air which sweeps toward him and the professor. Hey, Prof, look! Sandstorm headed our way. We better head north. Don, we don't want to get caught in it. Those sandstorms can be deadly. The two men urge their camels northward, but the storm increases in momentum, and each instant brings the masses of suffocating air closer. Here it comes, Prof. Try and hold your breath. Put a handkerchief around your face, Don. It will protect you from the sand. Hurry! But there is no protection from the millions of tiny grains which fill the air. The howling wind blasts the sand into the two men's eyes and noses. They're blinded and helpless in this deadly wake. Don, help! I'm falling! I can't see! Take it easy, Prof. I'll get you. But although Don can hear the professor's voice screaming close by, he cannot see him. He stumbles around, dazed and unable to breathe, the sand clogging every fiber of his body. Can't breathe, Prof. Where are you? I can't see. Over here. Don, over here. The agonizing minutes pass, but Don, although only a few feet away, cannot find the professor. The older man's voice becomes weaker and weaker, and Don knows that his friend is suffocating to death. Prof, save yourself. My boy, I can't do it any longer. The professor's voice rattles in his throat, and he is dead. Don knows that he cannot last much longer either. His lungs scream for air, but there's no escape from the hurricane wind and blanket of sand. The man who yearns for eternal youth is on the threshold of death. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die too. Don't want to die. I want to live. I want to live forever. He crawls on his hands and knees, slower, 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 until he can crawl no more. The blackness of total unconsciousness overcomes him, and Dawn's body slumps forward, motionless. It is hours later when the wind finally dies and night approaches. Don Chester lies unconscious, hovering between life and death, unaware of the figures which steal out of the darkness and peer down at him. Bucka Derwi Kopla, Tekas Jupir Wapla. Dawn is gently lifted up and carried into the night, up, 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 higher and higher, behind sand dunes, past an oasis, further and further away from civilization. Yuka, Hilfa, Busa, Vaska Utapa, Ipsoso. It's on the afternoon of the following day when Don finally opens his eyes and weakly takes stock of his surroundings for a minute. He thinks he must be dead, and in heaven, for where else but in heaven would a man see such beauty? I'm alive, alive, but am I dreaming? No, my son, you are not dreaming. Don whirls and faces an elderly, white-haired man, a man who, although old in years, has the healthy, vigorous features and movements of a man much younger. His hair is white, but his voice is firm and his stride strong. Don stares at him in fascination. Who are you? Where am I? I am high priest of this land, and the name of the land is Imton. Don wants to ask more questions, but the older man quiets him, urging him to conserve his strength. It is almost a week later when he is finally shown around the kingdom of Imton. I don't understand you. You're a foreigner. Why are you the high priest of these natives? And why does everyone look so young, so strong? Like you, I too was lost in a sandstorm and brought here. That was many years ago. The natives made me their ruler when the old high priest retired. Don notices that the high priest ignores his question about the natives' youth and strength, but for the moment he accepts the old man's silence. Time passes, countless days in which Don regains his health and feels himself grow more vigorous and powerful. But sir, I can't stay. I have a job, and a job means nothing, my boy. I have grown fond of you. Stay in Emiton, and I promise that when I retire, you will become high priest of this land. Everything that is mine shall become yours. I hardly know what to say. But Don makes a quick decision. Why leave? He feels good. He's living in luxury, and the future holds promise. Much promise. Days fly by quickly. Days, weeks, months, until Dawn has lost all conception of time. They're wondering, how long have I been here? What month is it? What day? What hour? My watch has stopped, and do not concern yourself with time, my son. Here in Imiton, time means nothing. We are not interested in such foolish matters. But the young man cannot ignore time, nor the question which still preys on his mind, haunting him, taunting him. Why is everyone in Imiton so young? Why? Why? He pleads with the high priest for an answer. I know there's a reason, sir, except for I haven't seen a human being in Imiton past their 20s, and you haven't lived here all your life. There's a reason, my boy, but you cannot know it until the day of my retirement. Speak of it no more. Don notes that the high priest speaks never of death, only of retirement. Can it be that there is no death in Imiton? Don is in a frenzy of delight. Perhaps his dream of eternal youth has come true? He tries to be patient, tries to hide his curiosity, and tries to please the high priest. And you wish me to marry, sir? Yes, my son. If you are to become ruler of Imiton, you must have a wife. I have selected Aleena for you. She is a fine girl. Don learns that Aleena has been married before, but that her husband was lost in a desert sandstorm. She is the mother of a small daughter, and as Don takes her hand, he decides she will indeed be the perfect queen for his kingdom to be. You're very lovely, Una. The desert took one husband from you, but now it has given you another. I am very honored, Mr. Don. The priest encourages Don to marry quickly, and the wedding is a lavish ceremony, culminating in a royal toast to Don and his new bride. To you, Don and Una, next high priest and priestesses of Imiton, Jubba Jubba, Ginka Quinto. Una, Don, and Una's small daughter move into the high priest's mansion, and for a time Dawn is content. Play with me, Dawn, play with me. Okay, honey, just wait till I kiss your mother. But Dawn is an impatient man, patient to become ruler of Imiton, impatient to learn the secret of the native's youth. Una refuses to answer his questions, but her small daughter Eula is not so reticent. And at Haim and big men of tribe go over hill, bring back funny water. You're an angel, Eula, a real angel. Daddy loves you. At the next full moon, Dawn watches the elders of the tribe carefully, and when they leave the village at midnight, he follows them. They move slowly over dunes and hidden sand caves until they reach a stream, a bright yellow stream. Before we take from these sacred waters, we must give holy thanks. In the water. The secret is in the water. As the high priest fills the huge jugs with the youth-giving water, the elders go into an eerie, death-defying dance. Death cannot claim us. We are free from death. There is no death. I found it. I'll never grow old. I'll remain at this age forever. The natives at last finish their ancient ritual and leave. Later, Dawn sneaks back to the village, gets a jug, and returns to the sacred water. With this water I can go back to civilization. Why stay in Imiton when I can rule the world? Me, Don Chester, the man who won't die. He hides his precious jug outside the village and returns home. He has decided to take Una with him. Why not? She'll make a perfect empress for the empire he intends to build. He does not fall in with this plan. Oh ho, I cannot leave Imiton, nor can you. We must never leave. It is forbidden. I will go to High Priest. You cannot. Okay, take it easy. I'll stay. Stop screaming. Una believes him, for Imiton a lie is unheard of. She kisses him and goes to bed, her heart full of trust. Dawn sits quietly until she is asleep, and then he sneaks into Eula's room and wakes the child. I'll fix Una. She'll be sorry she crossed me. Shh, honey, keep quiet. Daddy has a new game for you to play. Come quickly. Yes, Daddy. Dawn leads Eula out of the village, stopping only to pick up the priceless jug of water. Thus, a thief and a kidnapper, he leaves the land of Imiton. It is pitch black as he and the child start downward, to civilization. Just keep holding Daddy's hand, Eula. By morning, you'll be starting to see a brand new life, and haha, so will Daddy. Down and down they go, hour after hour, through the inky blackness, until at last, as the gray dawn breaks, they reach the great Sahara. But he forgot to give Eula the miracle water, and when Dawn turns to face the child, what's the matter, Daddy? Dawn turns from the hideous hag and runs wildly, afraid to think, afraid to believe his eyes, but in his terror he drops the jug, and the cork pops out, spilling the life-giving liquid onto the desert. No, no, no! He tries to lap up the youth's water with his tongue, but all he gets for his trouble is a mouthful of sand. Dawn is trapped. He dare not return to Imiton. He must try to get back to civilization. First he walks, then he crawls, more desperate with each agonized movement. So tired, feel so weak. Gotta keep going. Don't want to die. Too young to die. But when he is too exhausted to go further, Dawn is lucky 3 Americans on camels find him and take him to civilization. But it is so modern, so new. I don't understand. Well, for Pete's sake, old man, what do you expect? It's the year 2000. Of course everything's up to date and modern. Year 2000? Dawn's stricken with horror, the words of the high priest echoing in his ears. Forget time. Time means nothing. His hand goes to his face and he screams with a sickening realization of the truth. Old! I'm old! I was there 46 years. No, I won't be old. I won't. The townspeople stare at the 85-year-old man with amusement. Crazy, they say. But now Dawn understands what happened to Eula and Imiton. She was a child, but in civilization, she was a hag. Water is only good in Imiton. I gotta get back. In Imiton, I'll be young again. Tick, tick, poor insane old fool. He runs from person to person, yelling, Where is Imiton? Take me back! And no one's ever heard of the village, and they laugh even harder. Fools, all of you! I'll find it myself. Nothing will stop me, nothing. Goodbye. But something does stop Dawn. Death. He's an old man, and the torrid Sahara claims him as a victim within 48 hours. Dying, Imiton. Gotta make it to Imiton. And I And back at the village of Imiton, hidden in secret from the rest of the world, it is the time of the full moon, the time for the dance which laughs at death. There is no death. We are free from death. Say, young fellow fiends, then come to Imiton, or as we ghosts call it, no time. That is Imiton backwards. Natch. The end. The curse. I can still see Siri, the way he appeared the first time we met. I was working in the excavation near the Great Pyramid. It was late, and all the workers had gone for the day. I was using a fine sable brush on some pottery shards found that day, carefully cleaning away, grain by grain, the sands of centuries. While I bent over a fragment, I had the feeling of eyes upon me. I glanced up suddenly, and there he was, standing near the edge of the excavation. A typical small, dark native of the desert, garbed in a loose, one-piece overgarment, his head bound round with a faded turban. He gazed at me with large and sorrowful eyes. In their depths I could see all the mystery and sadness of the East. His voice was deep, too deep for such a small man. Sahib should not be here. The spot is accursed. Every other foot of this country seems to be cursed, and I told him so. He only shook his head and looked, if possible, a little more solemn. What the Sahib says is true, but some places have bigger curses than others. Where you are in the tomb of once mighty king who knew much of the black arts. When the king died, he set a demon to guard the tomb, a water demon that will drown any who profane his last resting place. I looked around at the barren waste of sand and laughed out loud. That demon will have to carry his own water if he wants to do any drowning around here. That's the best curse I've heard yet. I went back to my work on my find while Siri watched me, shaking his head unhappy from time to time. Siri had been right about one thing. This was the tomb of the great king. I had meant to question him more closely as to how he knew about the find, but in the excitement I never quite got around to it. The foreman must have hired him, as he did with most stragglers who came around the camp, for I saw him often after this. He was also among the bearers who carried our find to the train. During the long ride to the coast, I thought of him and made a half-hearted attempt to find him in the crowded train, but this was useless. The cars were packed with natives, 9 out of 10 of whom looked like Siri. I gave up the hopeless search and returned to my seat. I gazed, unseeing, out of the window as we rattled across the desert, and dreamed of the importance of my find. In Cairo, I lost myself in the bustle of loading the precious cargo aboard the ship. All thoughts of Siri and his mysterious curse vanished from my mind. When everything was aboard, I checked out of my hotel and strode down to the ship. The dock was empty. The ship was waiting only for the ebb of the tide. When I saw him sitting on the bollard, waiting for me. Siri, I've been wanting to talk to you. Come aboard the ship with me for a few moments. Of course, Sahib. Shall we use this gangplank? He pointed to one of the smaller gangplanks. I stepped past him, stepped onto the gangplank, and found myself falling through the air. I turned as I fell and saw that the dock was empty. No one was there. There was also no gangplank where I had walked. Now, as the oily harbor waters close over my head, I know that Siri spoke the truth. He is the water demon. And we move on to Fate Plays the Violin, a mysterious violin that seems to control fate itself, and the man who plays it may be playing for his own doom. Fate RPG hook. The violin grants incredible luck, but every time it's played, someone nearby suffers a terrible fate. Compel players with the violin demands a price. This is the Gravedigger's Tale. Well, here we are, back again for another Shivari of shenanigans and quivers. For this is a doleful dirge for long hairs. It's a story of a concert fiddler who was real gone for that fine tone, and nobody dug him till he went out and dug for himself. This is real crazy cats, crazy as Morty Jinx, and this is his story, a story of how fate plays the violin. The great Umberto Romoni was dying. Morton Jinx, his favorite pupil, sat outside the bed, hugging the Stradivarius to himself and shivering. No, it was not from cold that Morty shivered, but rather from the tale Romani had telling him. A tale of how he achieved that wondrous tone while he played the violin. No wonder Morty felt the icy fingers of the unknown ride his spine. The violin, it's cursed. That is a secret I must share with you. Remember, it's in the bow. I know how your heart recoils as mine did when I learned I had to use the hairs of the freshly dead for the bow. Do not forget the freshly dead. As dead as you'll soon be, I'll change your medicine for water. Yours is sick man's tale. The medicine, something is wrong. Goodbye, Maestro. And so, the Maestro died. At first, Morty Jinx refused to believe the old Maestro's dying story, but the beautiful tones in the Stradivarius began to sound more and more like the howls of a dying cat. It can't be true, but why can't I get the tone that Romani did? I must. There is a concert tonight. Jinx strode onto the stage that night and faced the audience bravely. But from the opening notes of his first piece, it was obvious that something was wrong. This is what I was afraid of. I sound like a 5-year-old practicing scales. The concert did not last long. The audience booed and hissed him off the stage, and now he sat alone. I didn't believe Romani. His story sounded like the raving of a maniac, but it must be true. In the week since his death, I have heard how the sound of the instrument has changed, but what can I do? Later that night in the hotel coffee shop, Jinx opened the newspaper. In spite of himself, he found his fingers turning the pages till he reached the obituary column. Why have I turned to the death column? Am I going mad? No, it's as if the spirits of the dead maestro is telling me to do this. Freshly dead, he said. Well, these are fresh. Ha! No more than a week old. At any rate, here's one at Lake Lawn Cemetery. The fence is very low. I'll need a shovel. The very next night, Jinx went to the Lake Lawn Cemetery. A chill wind sighed through the trees, whistled about the white tombstones, and rustled the dead leaves. Jinx forced himself to ignore these sounds. He worked feverishly. I must hurry, hurry, hurry! The digging seemed endless. His body shaking with fatigue, he continued until he hit the metal lid of the coffin. Later that night, it was a hard task fitting the pretty hair to the bow, but at last it was done. There, now we'll hear how it sounded. He drew the bow across the violin. The sound it made was like the mellow baritone of an organ, a triumphal sound that filled him with a swelling tide of joy. True, it's true. Now I won't be afraid to face any audience. A week later, Jinx had another booking in a small city. He played the concert with the Serbian finesse of a master. His fingers caressed the wood and soul-stirring music poured out. The Stradivarius had never sounded richer, not even when Romani had played it. This is only the beginning. Paris shall hear me, and London, and then New York. After the concert, Jinx's agent came to him with exciting news. Man, you were great tonight. Why, after this, you'll book you in every house in the country. But first, we'll play the sticks a little more. I already got you booked for the next 4 weeks. Yes, I was very good, wasn't it? And I'll be better, now that I believe the secret. But Jinx soon found out that the bow was a hard taskmaster. The air did not last long, and the moment it began to age, the violin lost its tone. Worse, it was not easy to get hair from the newly dead. He would rush from the concert hall when he heard the first harsh note, choking back his horror of his loathsome task. He would seek out a cemetery, the one living man amongst the countless dead. He'd violate their peace to make his fortune. Then one rain-filled night, Jinx became careless, and a caretaker heard the sound of his fiendish work and almost caught him. Stop! Stop, you grave robber! No, you can't stop me. My music is too important. Filthy ghoul, grave-robbing ghoul, must get away. The next day. Last night, Cowper Hearn, a caretaker at Peaceful Haven Cemetery, almost caught a grave-digging ghoul who had unearthed the coffin of the late Gertrude Anderson. The ghoul left a pair of scissors. Police are trying to identify the owner. For months, Jinx did not touch his violin. He looked at it, hated it, while a light of madness grew in his eyes. Then, at last, he picked it up and played. A horrible sound. It's becoming worse, and I only just fitted the hair to the bow. What can I do? I need new hair. And then fate stepped in. Morty was the only witness to a hit and an accident. He stepped up to the dead victim. Thanks, my friend. You should be proud that the great Mortimer Jinx is taking your hair. Jinx could feel the reaction of his audience that next night, but was still unsatisfied. Even though the applause seemed loud, it was the tone again. The tone was too robust. Violin's tone resembles the one whose hair I used. Let's find someone younger. A girl, I think, would be better. A girl's hair? Once more, the hair aged and the violin's tone changed. Jinx wanted a girl's hair, but saw no way to get it. Then, one night on the street, so young and pretty, if I had her hair, what beautiful music I could play. Sweet soprano notes. Mean to say you'll give me $10 just to listen to you play that fiddle? Yes, my dear, $10. I have composed a beautiful concerto and I want you to hear it. See, here's the money. He brought her to the studio and played for her. Then he explained his need for hair of the newly dead. It frightened her. Stop! The music ended with the sound of her voice, and the madness filled the room. She screamed and died of heart failure. The terror was too much. Ah! Never had the Stradivarius played with such sweet tones as now. Her rich long hair was just what the violin needed. Ah, exactly the tone I wanted. I must get rid of her body, then get booked into a concert hall. How can they help but think me the greatest violinist in the world now? A week later, the hair was old. The audience laughed at him. As Jinx walked the streets late that night, sighing in despair over the end of his career, a circus poster caught his eye and inspired a new thought. This morning's paper carried a story of the death of the featured singer with the circus. If I could get a singer's hair, what tone my violin would have then? But I can't get near her body. I must bribe someone from the circus. Jinx managed to bribe a circus roustabout, and that night, long after the last performance, they'll be around to see me. Just one snip of the scissors, and that $1,000 is mine. He raises the scissors, but I can't do it. She's so beautiful. I always loved her when she was alive. I never dared to tell her. Now that she's dead, I can't mar her beauty. I know what I can do. He returns quickly to the animal tent. This bull elephant just died today. Most people don't realize an elephant has long, thick, fine hair in its thick hide. I'll sell this hair to that screwball for $1,000. Shortly afterward, the roustabout arrived with the promised hair. Jinx touched it, caressed it. Here you are, boss. It was a hard job, but I managed. Fine, and here's the other 1,000. Jinx managed to obtain another engagement. Nor did he bother to practice. He was so sure of himself. This time, he did not know that his bow contained elephant hair from the beloved leader of the circus herd. The violin played with the cry of the bull elephant. The call of their leader, the elephants heard it. Elephants? The circus parade was a passing in the street. The elephants, driven mad by the sound of their dead leader, trampled their tormentor, giving him the death he had so long deserved. The end. And just like it says down below, don't forget to write and tell us which stories you like the best here at SL Tonight in the comments below. Your magazine no longer exists. Okay, next up, evil voices. Voices from beyond the grave begin speaking to a woman, and they have very specific, very dangerous instructions. Fate RPG hook. The voices are real and growing stronger. Are they ghosts, demons, or something worse? Players must decide whether to listen or silence them permanently. Fond felicitations, followers of the strange and supernatural. Ready for another sojourn in the world of the weird? Tee-hee. Then get set to fly backwards into time, back in the era of the witch, burnings, and terrifying spells. Back to the days of superstitions and fantasy. Listen carefully as we bring you the sound of evil voices. The women in this town are driving me mad. They whisper all the time that my wife is a witch. Fools! She's not! She's not! Year 1808. The time, midnight. The place, outskirts of Massachusetts. The rain came down in great gusts, and the wind howled in a dismal night as Todd Lowell attempted to force his exhausted stallion forward down the thick, muddy road. Come on, old boy. I know it's a foul night, but we got to find shelter. The young man breathed a long sigh of relief as he saw the dim lights of an inn in the distance. He was sopping wet, and his only thought was of a warm meal and a soft bed. Oh, up, boy. This old inn's kind of dank and eerie, but on a night like this, any place looks good. Todd gave his horse to an elderly stableman and hurried inside. As he shook the rein from his shoulders, he decided to take a tankard of ale before supper. Look at that girl. She's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I've got to talk to her. The young man seated himself at a table, ordering one ale after another, until he screwed up his courage enough to speak to her. He returned his shy words with a dazzling smile, and Todd Lowell lost his heart. I know I'm being forward, miss, but please, when you finish your work, would you sit with me for a while? I'd be honored, sir. And so it passed that Catherine Duncan, a barmaid, and Todd Lowell, son of a wealthy New England landowner, met one rainy night. By the end of the evening, Todd had asked the girl to marry him. I know I may be rushing you, Miss Catherine, but I love you. Will you be my wife? In this one brief night you have stolen my love. I will be your wife, Todd Lowell. Catherine's father was the owner of the inn, and on the following morning Todd asked the coarse, bearded man for his daughter's hand. I don't know what to say, Mr. Lowell. Of course, heard of your father, but Catherine is very young. She has hardly ever been out of my sight. I would take good care of her, sir. The best. Daniel Duncan stared down at his only child, examining her sweet, innocent face intently. Then he spoke. How do you feel about it, Catherine? Will you be a good wife? I will not do anything to bring disgrace to your name. Oh, father, I promise. I love him. I swear I will be a good wife. But still the innkeeper seemed hesitant, and Todd felt himself growing irritated. After all, didn't his father own half the land in the state? Who could make Catherine a better offer? But finally, with obvious reluctance, the father agreed. I give you my blessings, and I pray that you will guard Catherine from all evil, my son. Have no fear, sir. But Todd Lowell could not see into the future. He could not know that when he brought his bride home to Salem, the town women would be enraged by his choice. She's a common little barmaid. He met her while he was away on business for his father. He married him for his money. Later, she must have bewitched him. Obviously, my dear daughter Gertrude would have made him a far better wife. I will not go to the housewarming party, mother. It should have been my house, my party. I won't let that little snip laugh at me. Don't be a fool, Gertrude. Now you listen to me. She says some shit. All Salem society was at the Lowell house warming. Todd entertained his fellow townspeople royally, but by the middle of the evening he knew something was wrong. I'm sorry, you can't come to the luncheon I'm having next week, ladies. I'd hoped I'd get to know you better. I'm sorry, my dear, but I have to be very careful to see that Gertrude isn't exposed to any bad company. Todd couldn't believe his ears. By the end of the evening, every woman in the room had slyly insulted his Catherine, and after the party ended, she burst into tears. Oh, Todd, they hate me. I never should have married you. Now, sweetheart, don't cry. I guess it'll just take time. And it helped the women of Salem by Agnes and Gertrude Dunn in their power to make Catherine miserable. Whispering again, and every woman at me was at the church something. Ignore them, my darling. They're not worth your unhappiness. Yeah, the page is cut off there. I don't know. It was 2 days later when Miss Floyd Howard, the leader of the church, was found dead in her sleep. The town doctor said it was a heart attack, but heart attack indeed. It was that snip of Catherine. She's a troublemaker, and she was furious because dear Miss Howard had a good taste not to invite her to our social. What are you saying, Miss Dunn? That Catherine Lowell cast a spell on my poor wife? Far be it from us to start rumors, Mr. Howard, but mark my words, no good will come to Salem as long as that girl's here. There'll be more trouble. Yes, I think she's a witch. By nightfall, the rumors were flying all over town. Some of the women folk think Todd Lowell's wife can cast evil spells. She's a sweet-looking little thing, but you can never tell which is to be pretty or ugly, I say. Gertrude and Agnes made sure that the rumors continued. I tell you, we must be on our guard. She's an evil girl. She hates all of us who have refused to let cheap little barmaid into our society. Beware, ladies. But perhaps the talk would have died down if Gertrude's mother hadn't been struck by a runaway horse one morning in the marketplace. Mother, look out! Oh no! Good heavens! And as Agnes Dunn lay dying on the cobblestone street, she pointed to where Catherine stood, mingled in with the crowd. Mother! Mother! She did it! She cast a spell on the horse! She killed me! She's a witch! And as Agnes gasped her last breath, the farmer who owned the horse also turned on little Catherine. My horse was 15 years old. He was always gentle and peaceful. He never caused me no trouble till you came to town. That's right. The old horse used to be as meek as a lamb. You did it. You killed my mother. You hated her, and now you caused her to die. You're a witch! A witch! She was standing by the horse right before he ran away. That's when she cast the spell. Catherine was terrified, and she turned and ran from the angry crowd. No, no, I did nothing, nothing! Witch! Witch! The news of Agnes Dunn's death spreads over Salem like wildfire, and so did the increasingly vicious rumors about young Catherine Lowe. She put a curse on the horse. She could conjure up evil spirits. She pretends to be sweet and innocent, but she gives me the creeps. Catherine's life became a torment. She never ventured out on the streets, and she spent most of her days crying in Todd's arms. It was a mistake for me to come here. I love you, Todd, but I shouldn't have come to Salem. Darling, darling, don't listen to their evil talk. We love each other, and that's all that matters. Even Catherine's withdrawal from the Salem streets didn't satisfy the rumor mill. Whenever anything in the town went wrong, Gert blamed it on her. They had no rain in months. It's that girl, I tell you. She did it. She wants our crops to be ruined. You're right, Lucas. She's in that house all day long, conjuring up evil deeds, like Gert says. The final straw came when the wife of the mayor of Salem suffered a stroke when passing in front of the Lowell house. The townspeople rushed her aside, but it was too late. She was dead. They turned and stared at Todd's house, and the mutterings rose to shouts of rage. Catherine was standing at that window when Miss Renner fell over. She caused the poor soul to die. How long are we going to put up with this? She's going to kill us all. By nightfall, every citizen of Salem was hysterical with fear and rage. They gathered together and started towards the little house. Get the witch! Get the witch! And let's protect ourselves. There's only one way to stop a witch. The crowd burst into the front door and shoved Todd aside when he tried to protect his wife. Stop it! Let me go! You've lost your mind! No, you! You lost your mind when you married her, Todd. She bewitched you, but we're going to save you from her. Screaming out their rage and vengeance, the mob dragged Catherine out on the street and towards the town square. Kill the witch! Burn her at the stake! Burn her at the stake! Please, no, no, stop, stop! You can't do this! You're madmen! Catherine! Catherine! Todd watched with horrified disbelief as his beautiful, sweet wife was tied to a stake and hay piled around her feet. The women did it. They're to blame. I wanted to be friends, but they were jealous of me. Ha! Who wants a witch for a friend? We weren't jealous. We were afraid. Kill her! Kill her! Todd started to sob brokenly as Gertrude Dunn leaned towards Catherine, a flaming torch in hand, ready to ignite the hay. Catherine! It's your fault, Gertrude. You and your mother started the whole thing. Ha ha! You're right, you little gutter snipe. And with you burned as a witch, Todd will be mine again. But suddenly Catherine broke loose from her bonds and stood before the crowd. Her eyes were blazing and the sweet innocence dropped from her face as the pile began to burn. You wouldn't let me be good. When I left my father, I vowed that I would leave all evil behind, but you women wouldn't let me. Now you will pay. Todd watched his wife, and suddenly he remembered the eerie inn where he had found her. Remember her father's stern face and his reluctance to let her go. It was true. Catherine was a witch. Now you'll pay. I really am a witch. Jabba Sickalira, Jabba Sickalira. Within an instant, the quaking Gertrude had been transformed into a stone statue. The men watched, transfixed with horror, as Catherine, cackling with glee, went off into the night. Hee 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 hee. And now the stone statue stands forever in the village square. The end. Eternal Life. Text story. The cover story in prose form. The legend of Queen Aleena and the secret that has kept her young for 1500 years. Fate RPG hook. Players discover the lost mountain kingdom. Do they seek the secret of eternal life for themselves, or try to destroy it before it falls into the wrong hands? Eternal Life. The Lost Land was a legend all up and down the Diamond Coast. Brian Andrews had been hearing it for years. The story of the land that time forgot and its beautiful queen who lived forever. He had long since dismissed it as wishful flight of fancy when he met his old Professor Kleppner from Vienna. Herr Kleppner had been Professor of Antiquities at Ramstes University, a small college that had a fabulous collection of medieval manuscripts. Buried in the musty files, he found a map that he carried thousands of miles to show to his former student, Brian Andrews. The professor's enthusiasm fired the younger man. Together they planned an expedition to the interior. Brian dreamed of the fame and riches that would be his, but Professor Kleppner, now in his 70th year, could think only of Queen Aleena and eternal life. Through the steaming rainforest their safari pushed, up into the higher plain country, moving steadily towards the mountain barrier. They were an unknown country now. The land was taboo to all the tribes. Their bearers were becoming restless. Each morning there were always a few less in the line. When the footholds were reached, the first few cool mountain breezes drove the natives into a frenzy of terror. They ignored all pleas and offers. During the night they vanished, back towards the lowlands. Brian and the professor were alone. They took what equipment they could carry easily and followed the ancient map into the trackless mountains. There was always water to drink. The eternal snows provided that, but their carefully hoarded food gave out. Sun-blind and starving, they pushed on. They must find their goal now, or die. They never knew when they first entered the hidden land. They first realized that they had reached their objective when the air grew warmer. As the sun blindness ebbed away, they saw a peaceful green valley reaching before them. They had made it. Refreshed after eating some of the strange fruit that grew in the valley tree, they looked around. Not a soul was to be seen, but at the distant end of the valley they saw a grim and ancient castle. They approached it cautiously and entered through a rift in one room wall. Amazement rooted them in their tracks when they looked in. Men in ancient armor stood about, armor that had been old when civilization was young. A crumbling staircase led down into the courtyard, and on the steps was Aleena. Hers was an eerie beauty that took the breath away, an incredible mixture of youth, loveliness, intermingled with a feeling of incredible age. The dwarf with her saw the two men at the opening in the wall and pointed to them excitedly. Aleena turned her eyes towards them and beckoned them forward. Looking a little uneasily at the halberds and pikes carried by the guards, Brian and the professor came toward her. "Do not be afraid," she said, and her voice was golden melody. "No one will harm you. We are all strangers here like yourself, seekers after the secret of this land. Gog here is the oldest of us all, and he comes from a distant race of men. Cro-Magnon, I believe your wise men call them. We all came here for the secret of eternal life, and found it. But we found out the price too. To leave is to die. We, and you now, are doomed to stay here forever." The professor accepted the idea readily, for he was an old man and would have had only a few more years of life in the outside world. At first, Brian fought against it, rejected it. What could this valley offer? A chance to study the history of the world by talking to those that had lived it? But what else? Then Aleena looked deep into his eyes, and he knew that in the future all would be well. And now, to finish it all off, Snow Gray and the Seven Drips. A twisted, gruesome parody of Snow White, starring Grandma Gruesome and seven very unpleasant little men. Fate RPG hook. This one is pure black comedy. And it is a dark fairy tale one-shot where the Drips are actually dangerous little creatures with hidden agendas. Grandma Gruesome's Dead Time Stories. Greeting, fanatical followers of frenzied fables. So you're back for another visit with your old crone, Grandma Gruesome. Yeah, well, you won't regret it, little chums. Granny's gonna set you straight again on one of those old-fashioned out-of-date nursery tales. Stick around and learn the true facts in the case of Snow Gray and the Seven Drips. Once upon a time, chums, there was, nuts to that corny beginning, a couple of centuries ago, before color TV in Maryland Monroe, there were 7 drips who lived in a greenery called the Disenchanted Forest. I just groan while you work, just groan and grind and groan and grind. Tick, tick, tick. The 7 drips were not a happy lot. They slaved for a wicked and evil mistress from daylight until dawn, but even that was not enough. Hurry up, you fools! Work harder, faster! Baby needs a new pair of shoes. Tote that barge! Yes, Snow Gray. Snow Gray and the 7 drips lived in a humble stack within the forest, and into a hard day's labor they settled in comfortable domesticity. Take this revolting food back to the kitchen. When I say rare, I mean rare, you idiots. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's leave this happy little scene for a minute and travel a few miles away to the kingdom of ugliness, where King Hideous Queen Hideous reigns. Mirror, mirror in my hand, who's the ugliest in the land? Just so you won't get confused, chums, maybe I'd better explain this crazy philosophy. In the kingdom of ugliness, beauty is ugly and ugly is beauty. Get it? Who is the ugliest in the land? Not you, old bat. In the disenchanted forest is a dish named Snow Gray. She's the ugliest in the land. Queen Hideous was furious, and for years she'd been the ugliest, real George all the way. But now there was a competitor in her midst. Not true. No one is uglier than I. No one. Ouch. For Pete's sake, remember 7 years bad luck. But Queen Hideous knew the mirror never lied. The mirror said Snow Gray was uglier, then it was the truth. There was only one thing to do. Rub out Snow Gray. Natch. And here it is. I'll wear this old witch's mask so no one will recognize me. And thus that night, disguised as an old witch, Queen Hideous left her castle and then made her way through the disenchanted forest. Look, that face. Hide your faces. Too horrible to behold. Ugh, she's sickening. She's repulsive. She uses legs. It was daybreak when the queen, disguised as a witch, made her way up to the door of Snow Gray's menage. That's a house, stupid. Queen, beat it, you old hag. Scram, hit the road, girlie. Take off, sister. But the queen was a sharpster, and she knew she'd get Snow Gray's attention if she mentioned one magic word: money. Alright, I'll leave, but you'll be sorry. With my help, you can be the richest in the land. Richest? Money? Gelt? Loot? Green stuff? Cold cash? Moolah? Well, wait right there, witch old girl. I'll be right there. Mink, schmink, sable, schmable, pearls, smales, and satin, smatin. Snow Gray invited the queen to have breakfast, and the 2 women dined on scrambled toads and toasted tree leaves. Gad, it's as the mirror said, she's so ugly. So ugly. But when I get through, she'll be beautiful. Okay, kiddo, spill the beans. Let's hear it. This is it. Product of the century. Mulber. Just one coat of this on your lovely, ugly skin and you'll see a miracle. Mulber, eh? Silly name. Sounds like something to eat. But in her quest for loot, Snow Gray was willing to try anything. After breakfast, with the queen's help, she rubbed the Mulber on her face. That's right, dearie. Rub it in good. Smells like strawberries. Too bad I'm a vanilla lover myself. It was only seconds later when the Mulbert took effect. The queen watched with delight as Snow Gray's bewitching ugliness changed. And changed. And changed. Yep, Snow Gray was really gone. Oh, no! No! I'm beautiful! Beautiful! And that ain't all, sister. There's more to come. And more there was. Suddenly, Snow Gray grabbed hold of her head and slumped to the floor. Oh! Get off it, you ham. Who are you kidding? What do you want? An Academy Award? So you're fainting. So what? But this was no ordinary faint, little chums. Heavens to Betsy, no. Snow Gray fell into a comma. Not comma, you dope. That's punctuation. Coma. Alright already. Fell into a coma. Yipes. Look at her. What a mess. Yeah, and she used to be a slick chick. What's the matter with her? She's in a coma. She won't awaken until a prince kisses her. Ha ha! And now that she's repulsive looking, who'd kiss her? We're free. We don't have to work for her anymore. We're free! The seven drips and Queen Hideous started out the door and into the forest. It was going to be a quiet night. Everybody was going to celebrate. Hi ho, it's off to play we go. It's dance and play the livelong day. Hi ho, and I am the ugliest in the land. But before the drips and the Queen were out of earshot, a loud thunderous roar was heard from the cozy little shack, and they turned to see. Get back here, you worthless loafers! Maybe you're repulsive looking, but I'm not in a coma. Get back here! Oh no! Mercy, Snow Gray, we was only kidding. Seven Drips, afraid, went back to their mistress, but Queen Hideous beat it into the forest, cackling evilly. Hee don't care whether you're in a coma or not. You'll be beautiful until a prince kisses you. Hee. Prince Mince, beauty smuty, who cares? Snow Gray didn't care that every citizen in the vicinity gagged at the sight of her. When she went into the city to pack up supplies, the streets were emptied at the first glimpse of her beautiful face. Ugh, disgusting, sickening. Eek, that face! Fools, don't you know that ugliness is only skin deep? But it came to pass that one such trip to town, Snow Gray was seen by a visiting foreigner, a prince, Harry Prince by name. Ooh-wee, man, dig that dish! Sensational! Cleopatra and salami rolled into one. The prince trailed Snow Gray down the street, pleading with her, begging her for just one kiss. The townspeople watched from behind their doors, convinced that the prince was a raving madman. Marry me, my beloved. Flee with me. Ugh. Scram, bum. I've got no time for this stuff. Mad as a hatter. Insane. But nothing, neither hail nor snow, nor bloom of night, could stop the prince from his appointed task. Snow Gray, why do you flee so? All I want is one little kiss. Stand back, boy. Don't you know I'm under a spell that can be lifted only from a kiss by a prince? Not you. But when at last they reached the humble shack, Snow Gray's resistance is worn down. Okay, stupid. You asked for it. Tuck her up, boy. No, sire, don't do it. No! Out of my way, you little drips. The prince took Snow Gray into his strong arms, trying to ignore the seven drips to pull at him, pleading with him to stop before it's too late. We'll be so happy, my darling. We'll go home, we'll open up a gas station, rule the world will be ours. Beat it! Prince, you'll be a drip. But the warnings fall on deaf ears as the prince gives Snow Gray a big smackaroo. Wowie! Bong! But as the prince released his dream girl, he noted something strange. Hey, what happened? Too late, you're drip now, like us. That's the way we became drips. Poor Prince became smaller and smaller. Tish, tish, tish. Poor Prince. The drips warned him, but he wouldn't listen. Once again, Snow Gray's magic kiss had worked, and now, instead of 7 drips, there were 8. These foreigners, such drips. Groan while you grind, groan while you grind. Oh, no, Snow Gray and the 8 drips. I'm the 8 drip. The end. And that brings us to the end of Mysterious Stories number 2. A tale of eternal beauty, deadly secrets, and the price of living forever. Classic 1950s horror with some genuinely creepy moments. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments which story stood out to you the most. I read every single one. The full playlist for the series is linked in the description, so you can go back and watch the Horror from the Tomb mysteries and listen. Thank you so much for watching. If you like Golden Age horror comics, deep dives, and the occasional RPG twist, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Until next time, stay curious, stay spooky, and remember, some secrets are better left buried. This has been Felix Lebesky for SL Tonight. Take care. Good night.
Step right up and come on in. Here's where the fun begins. There's so much to do. Getting ready just for you. Everybody's busy bringing you some SL tunes. Can't you feel the buzz? Well, you're gonna feel the buzz because everybody's busy, just a little dizzy, bringing you some SL tunes. Camera, action, lights, you won't believe the sights and sounds. We got spills, we got thrills and more, bringing you some SL tunes.